Aloha! Sorry for the interruption of the fifth series of our podcast. Welcome to Legends, a limited number of episodes featuring iconic surfers, shaper of our surf history. We hope you're going to enjoy them. I have to say it was a true honor for me to interview them. Aloha! Welcome to the sixth episode of our Legends series. Today with us from San Diego, legendary shaper and surfer John Ollie. We discuss with him about Seagull Surfboards, adventure in Hawaii, surfers, and much more. Hello, Mr. Ollie. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
I'm in San Diego, California.
Fantastic. How is the day over there? It's sunny, I can see.
It's sunny. It's going to be a nice day, it looks like.
That's great. That's great. So thank you so much for your time today. We're going to talk a lot about you and surf history. But the first question that I have for you is, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
Having fun.
As simple as that, right?
Yeah, having fun.
And you still have fun.
No matter what level you when you paddle out, fun is the most important thing.
Exactly. You know, as the Duke was saying, and actually is a recipe of life.
The first time you paddled out that looks like fun, and that attitude is what maintains the daily lifestyle.
Exactly.
Go have fun.
Exactly. So important in life. If you have fun,
the more fun it is.
And you have a lot of fun, right? All the time. So,
a lot of fun.
that's fun.
And a gob fun.
That's fantastic. Is a good way of taking life. You know, it's definitely giving a lot of positive energy. So
yeah, happy. Wake up happy. Go to bed happy.
Exactly. So you were saying about paddling out. So when it was like the first time that you were able to paddle out, and how old you were?
We live where I grew up. I'm about, I don't know. I could walk to the surf from where I have.
Okay.
5 minutes to get there if I walk. So the first place I surfed was right down the hill. Place we call No Surf.
Okay.
A little cove, sandy beach, and a little reef, and at the right tide, little waves that you can ride left or right. But my first wave was just my mother and my stepfather bought me a brand new Belzy also
wow.
Long. Yeah, also it had a blue and white abstract on the bottom.
Nice.
I told all my friends, once I got the surfboard, I ain't playing baseball no more. Later, bye. So my first wave, I rode from about, 50 feet or something. But I ended up right onto the sand, stepped off of the sand, and I was hooked.
Yeah. Still today you remember that wave pretty well. So
yes, I do. You know, I have a grandson who I make surfboards now, obviously. And when he was real little, in fact, both of them, I think about it, I have two. One's right here, the one that contacted you contacted you. So I started them off really, really early. So this one of them, I'm standing on the cliff of the same beach where I caught my first wave, and wow. I made him a little egg. I was about 5'4" or something like that, and he laid on his board, paddled out, turned around, caught a soup, and rode step off the sand. He's a goofy foot like I started out as, and it was exactly the same place that I caught my first wave. I mean, the track would have been right straight down Broadway. Way cool. I get chills when I think about it. And the other one is equally as fun. They're out. They like to come home from surfing and say, "I got barreled today, Pop."
is a great thing, right? Is a even it looks like you were in the battle with them, right?
Yeah. They want me to. I kind of messed my knee up and a shoulder, so they really want me to, and I want to too. But the dedication, if I start, it's like every day. You know what I mean? You just surf every day, all day, and all, all day. So
But it was amazing to think about that wave that you took when you were young and the wave that your grandson took the same, is like
exactly. Both of them. Both of them spent the older one too. He did the same thing at No Surf. He called No Surf.
amazing. It's a history for your family.
There are all kinds of there's so many good waves where we live. I mean, there's quality waves within walking distance. I would say that about more than a dozen quality breaks here.
Yeah,
more. And I found them. I found them all.
So at that time, you started to surf on a Velsi board, so a balsa board, very heavy, I guess, right? And
28 pounds.
So for a kid, quite heavy to lift it, right? So
nothing. I'm out. Break of dawn, walking to the beach with the board. I would walk. I didn't even know about the breaks right where I live. So I would walk. I'd walk down to Ocean Beach where there's it's a beach break, and that was about, how far do you think that is? About a mile and a half or so?
2.5 miles.
Huh?
2.5 miles.
2.5 miles.
Wow.
There. I would walk it. I was so stoked. This one morning I got up before the sun came up, walked all the way down to the beach with my board, and it was still dark. So back then there was a lounge chair out on the sand. So I parked myself in the lounge chair. By the time I woke up, it was blown out and no good. I never forget that one either. Anyway.
My God. And that board, that Velsi board, do you still have it perhaps, or it disappeared with the years?
I had that board I ended up selling it, and I got a foam board from Velsi. I rode Velsi boards early. After I started to get a little bit better, all my friends always pushed me. There was three friends. We were out like brothers, the four of us in high school. So I didn't start surfing until the summer between 6th and 7th grade. So about 13
okay.
is when I started. 13. Yeah, 13. And after about a year and a half, I started entering contests. And at first, I didn't expect much out of it. It was just the experience of so much fun.
Yeah,
competing, So I kind of did better than I thought I would do. And this guy, another guy, back in the day, he made surfboards. His name was Billy Castor, and came to me one day and he said, "John, can I? I want to make you a surfboard." And I went, "I'd love for you to, but I can't afford it." He said, "No. I know it'd be a freebie."
Wow.
So I ended up being Billy Castor's first team rider.
Amazing.
Because we both are charter members of Winnesea, the surf club, right? So after that, by the time I was 17, I was kind of like doing really good in contests. I went up to Huntington Beach back then, was the contest, or one of the contests. Ocean Beach was another big one. PB was a big one. But the PB one, I got scolded because my friend said another break here in Point Loma was really good, and I was already in the semifinals. So I left to go surf the break here in Point Loma, and And the people that put the contest on were furious because I was like in the contest at the time. I didn't know it. I didn't really expect very much. But so the following contest was Huntington. I entered Huntington first time in 1960, I think, and I got to the semis, which was amazing. There was I was a member of Sunset Cliff Surf Club then, and there was 10 of us. 10 of us advanced out on the first day out of our club.
Oh, wow.
The two of us out of that club were charter members. One is a guy named Dave Willingham and I. So I made the finals 2 years later. I was 17, and I snapped my board on the pier. So you know how I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of Huntington Beach, but it's got these goes out, and then there's like a square, and there are more. So 50,000 people are screaming at you, and they're right there, right? It was big, and so it was showtime. So I wheeled it, stuck it, jumped it, went up high, and I was right the crotch. I was right here, and I was looking at the crotch because I looked down to see the forest pilings. I went up and hit the lip high. I was just like, and the keeper, like right there, just losing it. And I didn't compensate for there's a rip going out underneath the pier, right?
Yeah.
And it popped me off.
And you broke the board.
Yeah, I went up and stuck it up here, and it popped me off. And I went, And so I rolled off a piling, survived that. But the board was snapped, and I just stayed on the beach. I borrowed another friend's board. By the time I paddled out, I was able to catch one or two little waves that were good set waves. But I came in fourth. I learned my lesson there. Showtime's one thing, but you can't fall.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't fall. So, not when you're not in the finals.
Not.
The next contest was here. Those Mick Munoz and John Peck and Barsteel, and I can't remember the other guy, but I won that going away. It was on my home break. It was Ocean Beach. It was my home break. They didn't know it, and I did. And I got a fun story there. So you need three waves, three scoring waves. You can catch more, but your three best. So I caught two that were like nutty good. Big rights where it just like dropped in, sat on a backside turn, and stepped up once, sat down, and disappeared for a while.
Wow.
Came out. So the third wave was the 5 minute horn sounded, and I needed a wave, and it was so big that there weren't very many makeable ones. They were all just closing out, giant things. So I needed to catch a wave. So here comes one giant wave, and there's a left coming from here and a right coming from here. There was a smooth gap in the middle. So I took off, went straight, ran up, hung 10 at the top of the wave, did the Statue of Liberty, and ran as fast as I could and got to the bottom and jumped, turned and snuck out the back and won the contest.
Nice.
After that, it was Billy made a couple boards, and I went to Hawaii. Surfed.
Amazing.
Went to Hawaii. So I talked two of my friends into coming with me. The summer before, two other of my friends had been there, and they said there's a guy in Waikiki, and he pretty much rules town, which is like Waikiki.
Okay.
I was just enamored with the thought of riding Al Moana that left in town. So they said he lived on Al Moana Street in a duplex. And if you get a hold of him, he'll he likes you. He'd be a good guy to hook up with. So off to Hawaii we go. So we get to Hawaii. We landed. It was a prop. It took us like forever to get there. But anyway, when we got there, it was it was still those roll up staircases to the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Open the door. I was the first one out. Blast of warm air. I'm in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
That was our big goal was to get there. After that, we didn't have a plan. We had no plan. So what do we do? So let's go. Let's take a cab to Waikiki. Got in there, met a couple guys, and it was still like a neighborhood in Waikiki then. I mean, it wasn't just all hotels. It was duplexes. These guys lived a half block off the beach in Waikiki. So they let us stash our stuff, which wasn't much. I had 2 boys, so I left one in there. Went surfing right there in Waikiki, went to Queens, and out of the water. And it started to get late in the day over there. And we need a car. We need a house, and we need a place to stay, and we need a car. So walk up an alley in Waikiki looking for a car to buy, right?
Easy.
Sure. No car. So we went down another alley, got halfway down. There's some Hawaiian kids out back in the alley. And hey, there was a 54 Chevy there with a visor.
Wow.
Which reminded me of a Tijuana taxi cab. Anyway, I said, "You can sell that car?" And yeah, you got $45? I said, "Right here." They gave me the keys, and away we went.
Wow.
Car drove too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. So we packed all our stuff into the car, just stoked. Never registered it. Never no insurance, no license. So packed it all up and went to the North Shore, and ended up sleeping in the car. That was our first experience with mosquitoes. But anyway,
but it was amazing that at those days you could take a car like that. Now it would not be possible.
$25 a ran the whole time.
Fantastic! It's such a great adventure, right?
And we get up Aloha Street. I look for a duplex, and there's a duplex, the only duplex on the whole street. There was 3 of them. There were 3 stuck together. So I got out of the car and walked in the middle of the street and yelled out, "Boogie Kalama."
Amazing.
Yeah, this big Hawaiian comes out. Hey, you Haole boy. So Haoles is a derogatory term the Hawaiians use for white people.
Okay.
Haole. Well, it was Holly. Little did I know that would be to my advantage. So I said, my friends, I told him about my 2 friends, and he said he remembered them. And they had told me to look you up, and I want to go surfing with you at Aloha.
Wow.
So I said, "It's odd. You think you can surf? Well, surf my spot." So he takes us down there. We paddle out to Aloha, and I can remember paddling out and watching Boogie. It's a left, and he's a right foot. So there's a bowl section. He backdoors the bowl section as a right foot and comes out of the bowl as a goofy foot. It was like, it is so on, I can't stand it. And I surf better than they did. So I was just all about fun. There was never a negative.
Yeah, great experience.
Thought ever. So a couple of times when I was paddling out, there'd be like, one of these famous Hawaiian guys. But hey, Haole boy.
A lot of friends, huh? A lot of friends there.
I thought, I was like, "Hey, hi, how are you?" Leroy Choi was the one.
Wow.
So he was giving me a hard time, and I was all smiles and happy, and I thought, we were best friends. It worked out really well. So after that, I come back to California, surf some more contests. Wincy picks me up as a charter member, and I ended up surfing all kinds of contests for the club.
And it's a legendary surf club, right? At that time, Skip Fry.
Lots of, you go on the internet, and there's lots of people who claim to have been charter members and all that. There's 27 of us, not 40. There's 27. There was no girls either, not for openers.
So who were those members? Like which name?
Billy Castor, Mike Doyle, Rusty Miller, Little John Edwards, Lawrence Swan, PB Root.
Those were the originals.
Chuck Cassidy, who we called Coach. Torres Vincent was the CEO. When they recruited me, I had to go to Torres' house. And his reputation was a little shaky as far as male-female relationships go. So I was real leery of that. So there was a couple of people there, Hasley and Gore and some other guys, and their recruiting spiel for me was, "We think you're the best in the world. We think you're going to be the best in the world," which was really took me aback. It was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. It never even occurred to me, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, I'll bail on Sunset Cliffs and join the club. So after that, surfing contest and everything.
How was the transition between surfing and shaping? When did you start to shape surfboards?
Actually, I started when I was in high school. I tried. I'm just enamored with the sport. So the first one was I made a surfboard out of styrofoam, and you're supposed to epoxy styrofoam. So I shaped the board and epoxied it, and then put regular glass on there, and it came out pretty nice. However, I took it down to the no surf again, but right next door there's a place called Needle's Eye. So I was surfing there, and when I came in from surfing on the board, I had dents from sitting on my board. So it was like, oh, I think I didn't glass it completely correctly. So it was like, so a friend of mine I don't know how this work came out, but a friend of mine had explained to a lady that I was like a mucky wet in the surfing world, and I sold the board to her for $80 on a Friday. So
Okay.
Friday night, weekend, $80. Kid was like,
not that bad, huh? In a while, you could have bought 2 cars with $80.
a week. Yeah, I was like, God, like. So about a week and a half later, the lady called and she said, "You know what? My son went to stand up on the board. And he put his knee all the way through the board." And I said, "Ma'am, I'm totally sorry, but I don't have. There's no refunds. I mean, I don't. That money was spent within 48 hours." So anyway, so I tried making a balsa board, and that was tedious as heck. But so, and then I fiddled around with taking fiberglass off old boards and reshaping them. And there was people who down there that made surfboards, and they would allow me to watch or even use them. This one guy let me use his planer, which I probably put on my leg, and I still have a scar that just ate my pants. Anyway, so later on, after I got married, and I was working at an aircraft plant 8 hours a day, and after about a year of that, 2 weeks to go, an opportunity came up at Gordon Smith, which was the biggest surfboard company in the West Coast,
Wow,
probably in the world at that time.
Legendary.
So they had gotten an order from a surf shop in New York City called Emilio's, and they had ordered 165 rental boards. The opportunity to shape rental boards was an opportunity to learn shape, and so they had a competition because the regular shapers were so overwhelmed with orders for all the retail dealers on the East Coast. The owner, Larry and Floyd Gordon Smith, Larry Gordon Floyd Smith,
Yeah.
would go in the spring, right, like about March. There'd be they would take a van full of boards, and salesmen, they would go back to the East Coast and go up and down the coast getting orders. So anyway, they hired 4 people to try out to be the rental board shaper. And I was one of them, obviously. And I viewed it as an opportunity to learn the correct steps in making a surfboard. The other guys, if I was going to win it or lose it, I just wanted to learn the steps. Which one do you take to be able to make a surfboard that's viable, something that really does work? So the other shapers had the other guys had the regular shapers help them on their boards, and I would watch, I would listen, I would ask questions, and but I did all the work on my boards myself. The
Okay.
other guys wanted the job for the glory back then of being a surfboard shaper.
You wanted to learn. And
I wanted to learn the steps, period. If I was gonna, if I wasn't hired, I was at least gonna get that out of it.
and in your opinion, who was the best shaper? I mean, who's the best shaper of all time? Who's gonna be?
All time,
Yeah, your favorite.
there's probably quite a few. I'm people have thrown that at me. Man, there's elite shapers, and I think personally, lots of time the really good surfers, if they have that kind of ability to be a surfboard a shaper, understand exactly why the surfboards do what they do, and the better the surfer, the better the shapes, the better the boards. There's people like Rusty and Merrick, the current gurus of shaping that reflect their designs. Good surfers could make good boards.
Yeah, definitely.
Make poor boards. Those guys were good businessmen.
Okay.
They were good businessmen. Their companies rose up to be, big. And,
So you were talking about good surfers.
yeah.
You in your life, you met a lot of great surfers. So
Yeah.
was there one meeting that was particularly meaningful for you with one of them?
Well, Mike Henson got me on the Hobie team. I won the competition at Gordon Smith, so I ended up shaping all those rental boards. The next season, a guy named Dennis Bennett, who had designed the Magic. It was a model that GNS promoted. He decided he was going to move to Santa Barbara and surf Rincon. So they hired me. They had laid me off after that 165. And subsequently, next spring, I got hired as a permanent shaper. So as far as influences, Skip Fry, Larry Gordon, Skip's my best friend in the water, in that world.
Last time you told me about Skip Fry is still coming every Sunday to your place for lunch, right?
Dinner.
Sorry. So your friend outside and inside the water.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of fun stories there, but
what is the most fun story that you can share with me?
Fun story?
Yeah, I like those.
Let's see. Okay, one time, Skip and I are working away at the shop, and it's like midday in the middle of the summer, hot, really hot, and just on a mosey. We had to work. It was 8 hours a day, which I actually changed. But anyway, Skip says, "Well, let's go up and surf a Carta." And so I had my board with me. I said, "Okay, let's go." He said, "Well, go see where Larry is. Larry Gordon, he was the owner, right? Go see where Larry is." Why? If you don't care, let's just go surf. He said, "Go see where Larry is, okay?" So, okay, I'll go see. He's in his office sitting at his desk. So Skip Block goes out, and Miguel, who was the guy who polished the boards, had just finishing polishing a three-stringer custom-made order. So Skip grabs it, I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm just going to try it out. I said, you can't try that. You put dents in it, Larry will know. And he'll yell at me. He'll think that I coaxed you into taking it, for sure. No, it's not a problem. Okay, let's go. So we go surfing. We go up to Cardiff, and this is a true story. So we get down the beach, and I put some wax on my board. I put the wax to Skip, and Skip, no, I can't wax it. And I said, you're gonna slip and fall every wave. He never fell. We were out there 45 minutes, and
with no wax. No way.
I was incredulated. Anyways, so we get back to the shop. He said, we get out front of the shop. He says, go see where Larry is. I said, you know what, Skip? The last time I'm playing this game. So I don't see him. So Skip runs in, puts it on the rack, gets a towel, dries it all off, sticks it back up in the rack, and never got caught.
My God.
So another time, we were just like experiment with something. So there's chemicals you can add, or accelerators, they're called, like catalysts for resin. And there's stuff called DNA and cobalt. And you mix all three together, and it's nuclear. So we put a little bit of resin in a bucket, and added the catalyst, the DNA, and the cobalt out back in the back, where we kept all the extra drums of resin and everything. And it blew up like a volcano. Like, oh my God, if it comes out here, we're dead. You can put your hand behind the smoke and not see your hand.
Oh my God.
Close. Oh, it was crazy. So we pulled that off. Another time, I got fired so many fucking times. So another one, I got fired so much. So eventually, we were supposed to shape, I can't remember, 7 boards a day, 6 boards a day, something like that. So it can actually get boring in a way. One after another, every day, all day, right? So I just to keep get mentally sharp, I started trying to perfect my routine to the point where my planer was set down right here, and the rack went this way. So if I ended up my last cut with a planer on that end of the board, I would have to walk all the way back here and set the planer down. So I started thinking about how I can have my last cut would end up here, so I could just put the planer down, right?
Yeah.
That read. So it got to the point where my routine got really efficient, and I'd be done at 1 o'clock, and we had to clock in at 8 in the morning and clock out at 4:30, something like that. And it had to be within a minute, because they didn't want no overtime. They wanted you there on time. So at the clock, I was completely done. My stall was swept and clean. Everything was I'm done. So I still had 3 hours to burn every day. So I went to Larry. I went, you know what, Larry? Why don't you, the amount of money that you pay us for hourly, divide that into the boards, and make it piecework, right? The same amount of money, but piecework.
Yeah. So
I get as much for this board. So that I kept. After a while, it dawned on Larry that I was correct, and you save on electricity. You can bring another shaper into that stall and make some more boards or whatever. So
exactly, that was a good suggestion. Definitely.
So eventually he agreed, and when he put me on piecework, the whole factory went on piecework.
Oh. So
I think that maybe I was the first one to introduce piecework in the industry, at least here in San Diego.
Wow, that was a great idea you had.
So they gave me the key to the factory. So now my routine's efficient, right?
Yeah.
everybody in the factory, I got half the people jobs there. My brothers, which ended up being dusting, I got them jobs. One brother was a milkman, the other one was a high school phenom football player. They became the same. Anyway.
So you got them a job, and you had the key of the factory, right? So
yeah. So now I could get it. I would get up. I wake up at 4:00 in the morning and get to the factory in time. Okay, get to the factory, and there'd be nobody there. So I got the pick of the boards that were to be shaped that day. So I grabbed all the same size, the smallest ones. Right?
Yeah.
So I could be home by 7:30, like I never went to work, eating breakfast and get to surf all day.
Amazing.
Real good. So
not bad.
So this one day I'm leaving and Larry's coming, and he's rubbernecking it out his window as I'm going home, right?
Yes.
Factory, and he's like, oh, he grabs my the head shaper, guy named Paul Berderi, and he said, we're going to check Holly's boards. So the next day, the phrase that Paul used in describing my shapes the previous day was they were all adequate. I love that story. So,
but that was good for you,
Yeah, it was really good for me. So there's a lady in the office who was the secretary, okay, Mildred. She's really a nice lady, and I would ask her questions about marketing and selling boards to retailers. And so I started up my own little line of surfboards called Seagulls.
Yeah.
And I was still working at GNS.
So that which year it was?
Huh?
Which year? When you?
Which year? God, I couldn't tell you.
A few years ago.
Think about it. Probably around 1970. I started up doing that.
So it's more than 50 years of Seagull's surfboards, right?
I probably make more GNS surfboards than anybody in the world. They don't. I was too much of a rebel, though. Fired all the time. I got fired all. This one time, the surf was giant, really good, really giant, really good, and it was like, oh, I'm going surfing. So I was supposed to. Back then, I was still in the 8 hours, with the clock. So
your invention of working as per your speed actually allowed a lot of shapers to go to surf. So that was great.
Yeah. So
a lot of people should be grateful for you.
Well, show me the money.
Show me the money, yeah.
Set up by myself. It was giant. It was really, 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 really good. Oh, it was probably about 18-foot faces or so.
Wow.
Big lift right outside of No Surf. There's a reef outside we call Indicator. And when it gets big, it gets nutty good. So I get back to the factory after surfing, and Larry and Floyd pulled me into the office and scolded the heck out of me. I went, what? Rippers, and it was really good. What? So I survived that little bout. Then later on, I had not worked at Gordon & Smith for quite some time, and I had my own shop, and I got enamored with sailboards. And I made myself a couple, and back to GNS, and it rehired me, and I was making surfboards, and so I brought my sailboard. And I just kind of like put it in, left it in a location that Larry would not see it.
Okay.
Which got his interest up. So eventually they hooked up with Windsurfer International, and I made all sailboards. they gave me all kinds of special stuff. I remember one time, I had finished making the boards that I was scheduled for that day, and he had a custom order for a giant longboard, and it's super thick. And he said, "Yeah, you got to do this. You got to." I said, "Paul, I'm done. I'm already just finishing. So it's good. I can't leave. No, you have to shape this up." So I thought I'm gonna rush through this thing. So I take a couple cups off the bottom, and Paul walks back in, and he says, "Watch out for the thickness. You got to maintain your specs, right?" So he puts the calipers on it. It's too thin. He goes and gets me another blanket. He says, "Start over." Oh, I was so bummed. I missed the surf that day.
So, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in shaping, if I have to ask you?
Well, the most important thing is understanding why boards do what they do, and being able to understand that facet. That if people like to go straight back up and slash it, throw water and come to a stop. You can actually design you put a little more bottom rocker in it. So understanding why boards do what they do enables the shaper to make a custom board for someone that is built for that person. At their ability level, you try to design a board that will match their ability level in the water, whoever they are.
It's the important thing is to be a surfer yourself, so you can know their ability level and translate that in a surfboard.
Questions. I can ask questions and delve into who they are in the water. Design a board for that person. For whatever level of ability they have in the water. So I'm good at that. I'm really good at that. So
fantastic.
Now that I have a shaping stall right here in my backyard, a friend of mine built it for me, and it's now I can really take my time and do them really right, and not just punch out board after board after board. So that is.
What is your? Do you have a favorite shape of surfboards that you particularly you like, or?
Eggs. Skip and I. So the story is that Floyd Smith had gone to Australia. I've heard a billion stories.
I like that.
And when he came back, he decided that I'm going to be his shaper. So I ended up having to do all the surfboard Hawaii and surfboards Australia. And one of the board back then, all the different shapes had to have a name, like the Magic or a Modern Machine. So Floyd came back, and at the time there was a TV series called Fat Albert Little Brother, which was a cartoon. So we named one of the boards Fat Albert, and Fat Albert's little brother was an egg.
Okay.
So the eggs are my favorite. My favorite board I've ever had was a 6'2" egg. I rode it for 2 years, and that board. I'll explain one wave. I'm surfing out my home break, which is a place called Ab. It's a left. And it was about 10-foot faces, real classy day, really, really good. It was really good. And so I'm out surfing it, and here comes a nice wave. But I'm a little bit too far inside, so I'm paddling out furiously to see if I can sneak through the lip of this wave so I can get to the next one, right? And but this one was so good, I just went, I gotta try it. So I wheeled it, I stuck it, I jumped it, and I'm on top of the lip. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Mm-hmm. So over I go, and I'm searching for my spot on my board with my feet. The second I hit the bottom on top of the lip. I found my location on my board with my feet, and I just sat on one and got the hell out of Dodge.
Wow.
I pulled it. It was like I have two distinct, gives me chills thinking about that way. So the eggs are for gobs of good reasons here in California, where there's lots of water. You not only have this surface, just the face of it, but you have way out in front. I have a picture of myself in a. But anyway, you can really tap into the power of the wave with a round tail. Because you can not only this face, but all this face here. So you can drop down. As long as you're accelerating through any time during the process of acceleration down the face, you can make a turn, right? So every wave's going to present a different equation. So the eggs enable you to once you dial yourself into how that board performs and how far your reach is on a maximum turn, and how tight your inside arc is, you can judge when to jump a turn on every wave that you catch, right? So they're probably my favorite. But that was my favorite. That was my favorite board ever. Not to discredit other shapes. It's just understanding do what they do. Like a fish is the quickest turning board in the water. A Waimea gun. You don't ride Waikiki with a Waimea gun, right? Etc. Yeah. So that facet is crucial.
In your opinion, we were talking about surfers, right? Who is the best surfer of all time?
Of all time?
Yeah, or your favorite?
I don't know if I have a best. I think the most influential one was probably Duke Hanamoko. Yeah. So the best of all time is 1962. I beat the world. I mean.
So you were in 1962 the best.
He smoked everybody. 2 or 3 years later, Nat Young, Nat Young came over here and won at my beach. Well, I was detained that weekend, so I didn't get to surf against him. But
that's a nice story, right?
My beach, he wouldn't have won that contest if I was in the water. But maybe.
So he owes you one.
Yeah, I don't think I had a prayer at his spot either, though. So you could best of the world with that Kelly Slater kid. He's been dominating for a long time.
You saw recently at the Pipeline Master, it was a great victory.
There's lots of those pros. I disagree with their approach, but that's just me. So I have some friends where Barry Kanakuni is one of my very best friends, Hawaiian friends. That guy was powerful. My first Kip and I were in a conversation once about heroes, and I had we used to go to surf movies, which was quite an event at that back then. It was like who's who of surfing in the local areas where Bruce Brown would come, and the Slippery Wood Wet and Big Wednesday and all that. And that was the first time I saw Paul Stroud surf. And smooth and powerful. I went. So I can't remember how the conversation started, but I said, Paul Stroud was my first surf hero, or whatever you want to call it, right? And Skip said, no, he's mine. I said, no, I've got first. Anyway, Paul Stroud was but he was actually pretty and smooth and powerful. When he did something, it was with speed. Speed counts. Going fast is my focus. So anyway, Barry was one of those Hawaiian monsters who he would make. His home break was Sunset. He would make 7 out of 10,
Wow.
maybe 6 out of 10.
Okay. Still good.
He would take off deeper than everybody, and just get killed. But the ones he made were so spectacular, you couldn't take off in front of him.
Mm.
I used to get pretty bummed. I said, Barry, I was in perfect position. I got to give you the wave, and you didn't have a prayer, but I had to give it to you anyway. And he would just laugh and smile. And went, well, let's go try some more. So anyway, he was a big influence. Hinson, because he got me on the Hobie team. That was a '67 team, which was that was probably the best group of surfers for a manufacturer ever. There was a lot of good guys on that team then.
Of course. But again, as we said at the beginning of the interview, the best surfer is the one that have fun all the time, right? So
yeah.
So you don't need to be a champion as long as you keep the stock, right?
There's levels that lots of people don't reach the level that Skip and I and the other people, Slater, that reach, that other people just don't have that. Just aren't that. They just aren't. They don't have that gift. But the thing is, like someone said to Skip, "Who's the best?" He said, "Whoever has the most fun."
Exactly. That matters.
So that attitude prevails to the moon. So anyway, I ended up doing design work for Windsurfer International. Then I got into the sailboard thing pretty heavy. So I Bob Dill up in Oregon, the Columbia River. They flew me up there, and I shaped sailboards up there, the Columbia River. After I did design work for Windsurfer International, then I hooked up with a guy named Jimmy Lewis, who at the time was the number one windsurfer shaper in the world. He had a contract with Bic sailboards, Bic lighters. They also made sailboards. And Jimmy was the designer of all their boards. I shaped under his label for years. That another thing that I'm kind of proud of with Jimmy was that in France they dug a canal parallel to the beach, always onshore wind there. So they put up timing lights on either end of this little canal that they built, and they would race their sailboards to the timing lights. Of the 50 fastest times through those lights, 47 of them were on Jimmy's boards.
Wow.
And I made a few of them. So that was quite the thing. Jimmy at the time told me that in Europe, 1 out of 10 Europeans owned a sailboard, which kind of flabbergasted me. Mm. But anyway.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And
so Jimmy flew my wife and I over to Maui a couple times, and I had to go take lessons from Jimmy to make exact copies, right? So I had a notepad like that thick of dimensions and measurements and stuff like that. So after that, I did cut
quite a lot of things. But I want to ask you my final questions and final question. And I know that you have a lot of funny story, and I know you love to have fun. So I see talking with you. So for the listeners, what is your best fun story about surf that you experience in your life? The best one.
I pulled up. So we're in Hawaii. We pulled up at Makaha, and we're just sitting in the car, and it looked like it was about 8-foot paces. Fun stuff. And after about 20 minutes or so, I didn't realize the point was that big, but we saw this wave coming in, and there was a guy had taken off, or two guys had taken off. One guy was on top, and there was water above his head. There was water between the bottom of his board and the top, and the guy underneath his head, and then there was soup from the wave in front. It was like, I think it was a little bit bigger than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my friends decided, I'm not paddling, it's too big. And the other one said, okay, I'll go with you, John. So I ended up surfing Makaha, the biggest day I ever surfed in my life. So I paddled out, and there's a Hawaiian kid that you could tell it's his home break, and he just kept catching wave after wave after wave after wave, and he had it figured out, right?
Yeah.
So I started kind of inched my way in, just feeling out the break, because I never surfed that big or that spot. So I, kind of tentative here, then a little deeper, a little deeper, a little deeper. Finally, I was surfing with the kid. The guys at the point hadn't caught a wave yet. And I'm catching 18-foot faces easy, 20-foot faces, and just smooth and classy and nutty good. So all of a sudden, the guys at the point take up, here comes some things. I call them things, right?
Okay.
My friend's out in front of me, outside of me by about 10 feet. And he says, and he turns around and he says, what are we doing? I said, out and over. Get out of here. Go to the channel. So we're scratching furiously for the channel. And it gets to a point where we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna make it. So I had stopped. I closed my board. I was gonna shove it. I was going to shove it through my legs and dive. We didn't have leashes then, right? So I was going to shove my board and just dive and get underneath the turbulence. My friend turned around and he saw me grabbing the nose, so he thought we were pushing through. So that was what he was going to do. The wave broke on him.
No.
I mean, the lip on him. So I knew that potentially there's something really bad could have happened at that point. So when I came up, first thing I did was broke the surface of the water and take a breath, and it was that much foam on top. And I just got salt water. So here comes another wave. I dive down. I'm looking for my friend underwater, right? I don't see him. He was 50 yards inside of me. But, it's a bathtub, so it's warm water, so it's not a problem. But it's going to be a swim. So that later that day, the kid that I'd been surfing with said, you got to meet my family. Oh, cool, I'm in. So I ended up spending 2 nights there with a Hawaiian family. They wouldn't let me go. You're staying. So the kid was just a skinny little Hawaiian kid. He says, I have some older brothers. You need to, you'll meet him. So the first one I met was his mother, and the Hawaiian mothers rule the roost. They just rule the roost. So I can't remember their names, darn it, but the kid says, whatever you do, don't pass out before my brothers do. Just don't pass out first. Because they shave your eyebrow and paint your face. So that's probably one of my most favorite days was that big day of getting to stay with a Hawaiian family.
Amazing.
There was a couple of Hawaiian families who wanted me to stay in Hawaii.
Amazing.
To this day, I regret not staying. Anyway.
It's okay. It's life. Life is made of changes, right? So. But thank you, Mr. Ollie, for sharing with me today a lot of stories. It's been so interesting for me. And I hope to talk to you very soon.
Okay. I'll see you then.
Thank you so much.
Adios.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!